My name is Claire Madsen, and 12 hours before I was supposed to walk down the aisle, I found my fiancé in bed with my best friend. But I didn't cancel the wedding. I didn't cry or beg or make a scene. I got dressed, I did my makeup, and I showed up. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't calling it off. It's letting everyone see exactly who or what they're celebrating. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, someone you loved, someone who looked you in the eye and promised forever, this story is for you. But first, let me know in the comment section where you are watching my revenge story from. Like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of my revenge stories. If you believe cheaters deserve to be exposed and you want to see justice served. Because what happened at my wedding, nobody saw it coming. And I made sure nobody would ever forget it. I met Marcus Webb when I was 24, fresh out of a marketing degree and working at a startup in Portland, Oregon. He was 27, a sales manager with a smile that could sell ice to someone living in Antarctica. Confidence and charming. The kind of guy who remembered your coffee order and texted you good morning without being asked. Our first date was at a rooftop bar downtown. He wore a navy blazer and told me about his plans to run his own company one day. He asked about my dreams and really listened when I talked about opening my own branding agency. By the end of the night, he'd already planned our second date. I remember walking to my car thinking, this is it. This is the guy. 3 years later, he proposed. We were hiking at Multnomah Falls, and when we reached the top, he got down on one knee with a ring his grandmother had left him. A simple gold band with a small diamond. It wasn't flashy, but it was real. It was us. I cried so hard I could barely say yes. Planning the wedding took over my life. I wanted everything perfect. Not because I cared about impressing people, but because this was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Marcus and I were finally doing it. Building our forever. I chose a venue in the Columbia River Gorge, a stone manor with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the forest. 200 guests. A live band. A 7-tier cake. My dress was ivory lace with a long train, custom-made by a designer I'd been following for years. It cost more than my first car, but Marcus didn't blink. He just kissed my forehead and said, "You're going to look like a dream." My maid of honor was Natalie Brooks. We'd been best friends since high school. She was the one who held my hair back when I got food poisoning senior year. The one who drove 4 hours to bring me soup when I had the flu in college. The one I called when I got the job offer that changed my life. She was my person, my sister in every way that mattered. Natalie was also gorgeous. Tall, blonde, with a kind of body that made men turn their heads on the street. But she never made me feel less than. She hyped me up, told me I was beautiful, and helped me pick out my wedding dress. When Marcus proposed, she screamed louder than I did. The bachelorette party was 2 weeks before the wedding. Vegas. 8 of my closest friends. We stayed at the Bellagio, drank too many cocktails, danced until our feet ached. Natalie planned the whole thing. She even surprised me with a private suite and a custom banner that said Claire's last ride. We laughed until we cried. I remember hugging her that last night, drunk and happy, whispering, "I love you so much. Thank you for everything." She hugged me back and said, "I'd do anything for you, Claire. Anything." I believed her. The week before the wedding was chaotic. Final dress fittings. Confirming vendors. Seating charts. My mom was losing her mind over flower arrangements, and my dad kept asking if we really needed a live band. Marcus was calm through all of it. He'd rub my shoulders when I got stressed, remind me that the only thing that mattered was us. 2 days before the wedding, we had the rehearsal dinner. The whole wedding party was there. My parents, his parents, our closest friends. Marcus gave a speech about how lucky he was, how he couldn't wait to spend the rest of his life with me. Natalie stood beside me, squeezing my hand. I looked around that room and thought, this is my family. These are my people. I didn't know I was living in a lie. The night before the wedding, Marcus stayed at his best man's house. Tradition. We weren't supposed to see each other until the ceremony. I stayed at the venue's bridal suite with Natalie and 3 other bridesmaids. We drank champagne, did face masks, and painted our nails. It felt like a sleepover, like we were kids again. Around 11, Natalie said she needed to run to the store for more champagne. We were running low, and she wanted to make sure we had enough for mimosas in the morning. I offered to go with her, but she waved me off. Stay. Relax. You're getting married tomorrow. Let me handle it. She left. I didn't think anything of it. I sat on the bed with my bridesmaids, scrolling through Instagram, laughing at old photos. Around midnight, I texted Marcus. Can't sleep. I'm too excited. He didn't respond. I figured he was asleep or out with the guys. I set my phone down and tried to rest. Tomorrow was the biggest day of my life. At 6 in the morning, my alarm went off. I woke up groggy, champagne headache pounding behind my eyes. The room was quiet. I looked around. 3 bridesmaids were asleep on the pull-out couch. But Natalie's bed was untouched. My stomach dropped. I grabbed my phone. No texts. No calls. I tried calling her. Straight to voicemail. I tried again. Nothing. Panic started creeping in. Where was she? Did she get in an accident? Was she okay? I texted the group chat. Has anyone heard from Natalie? No responses. Everyone was asleep. I called Marcus. It rang twice, then went to voicemail. My heart was racing now. Something was wrong. I could feel it. I threw on sweatpants and a hoodie, slipped out of the suite, and got in my car. I didn't know where I was going, but I couldn't just sit there. I drove toward Marcus's best man's house, 20 minutes away. Maybe Natalie stopped by to drop something off. Maybe Marcus knew where she was. I pulled up to the house. The lights were off, but Marcus's car was parked out front. Relief washed over me. He was here. He'd help me find her. I knocked on the door. No answer. I knocked again. Nobody answered. I tried the handle. Unlocked. I stepped inside, the house dark and silent. Marcus. I called out. My voice echoed. Natalie. Nothing. I walked down the hallway, heart pounding in my chest. The bedroom door at the end was cracked open. I pushed it wider. And that's when I saw them. Marcus and Natalie. Tangled together in the bed. Naked. Asleep. The world tilted. My knees buckled. I grabbed the doorframe to keep from falling. I stood there, frozen, staring at them. At him. At her. My fiancé and my best friend. The 2 people I trusted most in the world. Natalie stirred first. Her eyes opened, and for a second, she just stared at me. Then her face went white. Claire. Don't. My voice was a whisper. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. Marcus woke up then, confused, blinking at me like he didn't understand why I was there. Then it hit him. His face crumbled. Claire, baby, wait. I turned and walked out. I didn't run. I didn't scream. I just walked. I got in my car, hands shaking so hard I could barely grip the steering wheel. I drove back to the venue in silence, my mind completely blank and numb. When I got back to the bridal suite, the girls were awake, sipping coffee, laughing. They saw my face, and the laughter died. Claire, what's wrong? One of them asked. I didn't answer. I locked myself in the bathroom and sat on the floor. And that's when it hit me. The wedding was in 6 hours. 200 guests. My parents had flown in family from across the country. We'd spent $40,000. The venue was set. The flowers were arranged. The cake was ready. And my fiancé had just destroyed everything. My phone started buzzing. Marcus and Natalie. Over and over. I didn't answer. I sat there on that cold tile floor, mascara running down my face, and I felt something shift inside me. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to let them get away with this. They thought they could humiliate me, betray and use me. No. I was going to make sure everyone knew exactly who they were. I stayed in that bathroom for what felt like hours, but it was only 20 minutes. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Marcus and Natalie keep calling. Their names flashing on the screen over and over like a knife twisting deeper each time. Finally, I picked up. It was Marcus. His voice cracked the second I answered. Claire, please, just listen. Where is she? I asked. My voice was flat and emotionless.
She left.
She's Claire. It was a mistake. I was drunk. She was drunk. It didn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything. I repeated his words slowly, like I was trying to understand a foreign language. You slept with my best friend the night before our wedding, and it didn't mean anything. I'm so sorry. God, Claire, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. Please, we can fix this. I hung up. I sat there staring at the wall. My hands were still shaking. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't get enough air. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw my phone across the room. But I didn't. Because somewhere in the fog of shock and rage, a thought started forming. They expected me to cancel. They expected me to fall apart. To cry and scream and make this about my pain. But what if I didn't? What if I showed up? A knock on the bathroom door pulled me out of my spiral. Claire? Honey, are you okay? It was my mom. I stood up, splashed cold water on my face, and opened the door. My mom's face went pale when she saw me. What happened? I couldn't tell her. Not yet. If I told her, she'd want to cancel. She'd call my dad, call Marcus's parents, and the whole thing would implode before I had a chance to think. I'm fine, I lied. Just nerves. She didn't believe me, but she didn't push. Okay. Well, hair and makeup are here. Are you ready? I nodded. The next 3 hours were a blur. I sat in a chair while 2 women curled my hair and painted my face. I smiled when they told me I looked beautiful. I thanked them. I acted like everything was fine. But inside I was building something. A plan. Around 10 in the morning, Natalie texted me. Claire, please. I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you.
Can we talk?
I stared at the message. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Part of me wanted to tell her exactly what I thought of her. But I didn't. I typed. Where are you? 3 dots appeared immediately. At home. I didn't know if I should come today. I'm so sorry. I took a breath.
Come.
I need you here. A pause. Then, are you sure?
Yes. Please.
I can't do this without you. Another pause. Okay. I'll be there in an hour. I love you, Claire. I didn't respond. I set my phone down and looked at myself in the mirror. My hair was perfect. My makeup was flawless. I looked like a bride, but I felt like a ghost. My mom came in with my dress. It was hanging in a garment bag untouched. She unzipped it carefully, her hands trembling slightly. Oh, Claire, you're going to be the most beautiful bride. I stepped into the dress. She zipped me up. I looked at myself in the full-length mirror. I looked perfect, like nothing was wrong. Natalie arrived an hour later. She walked into the bridal suite, her eyes red and swollen, mascara smudged. She looked like she'd been crying all night. Good. Claire, she whispered, her voice breaking. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I don't know why It's okay, I said softly. I walked over to her and took her hands. It's okay. She stared at me, confused. I forgive you. Her face crumpled. She started sobbing. Oh my God, Claire. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't deserve you. I don't. Sure. I pulled her into a hug. It's going to be okay. Just get ready, okay? I need you with me today. She nodded, wiping her tears. Okay. Okay. I'll get dressed. I watched her walk away, her shoulders shaking. She had no idea. Marcus called me around noon. I answered on the second ring. Claire. His voice was desperate. Are you still coming? Are we still doing this? I'm getting dressed right now, I said calmly. I'll see you at the altar. He was silent. Claire, I don't understand. You're not mad? We'll talk after, I said. I don't want to do this over the phone. Okay. He sounded relieved. Hopeful even. Okay. I love you. I love you so much. I hung up. My bridesmaids were getting ready around me, laughing and taking photos. They had no idea. Natalie stood in the corner, quiet, her eyes still red. She kept glancing at me like she was waiting for me to explode. But I didn't. I smiled. I posed for photos. I drank a mimosa. And inside, I felt nothing. At 2 in the afternoon, my dad knocked on the door. "It's time, sweetheart." I took a deep breath. Smoothed my dress. Picked up my bouquet. "Let's go." The walk to the ceremony felt like a dream. My bridesmaids lined up ahead of me. Natalie was last. She turned back to look at me one more time, her eyes filled with guilt. I smiled at her. The music started. One by one, they walked down the aisle. Then it was my turn. My dad looped his arm through mine. "You okay?" he whispered. "I'm perfect," I said. The doors opened. 200 faces turned to look at me. And there, at the end of the aisle, stood Marcus. He looked pale, nervous. When our eyes met, he tried to smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. I started walking. Every step felt deliberate and powerful. I wasn't walking toward my future. I was walking toward his destruction. I reached the altar, and Marcus took my hands. They were clammy, shaking. He leaned in close and whispered, "You look incredible."
I didn't respond.
The officiant, an older man with kind eyes and a deep voice, began the ceremony. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today." I wasn't listening. I was watching. Watching Marcus try to hold it together. Watching Natalie stand behind me, clutching her bouquet so tight her knuckles were white. Watching my parents in the front row. My mom was dabbing her eyes with a tissue. None of them knew. The officiant droned on about love and commitment and forever. About trust and honesty. I almost laughed. "Claire and Marcus have chosen to write their own vows," the officiant said. "Marcus, would you like to begin?" Marcus nodded. He pulled a folded piece of paper from his jacket pocket, his hands trembling. He cleared his throat. "Claire," he started, his voice shaky. "From the moment I met you, I knew you were different. You're smart, kind, beautiful. You make me want to be a better man." I stared at him. His eyes were glassy. Was he crying? Or was that guilt? "I promise to love you, to honor you, to be faithful to you, for the rest of my life. You're my best friend, my partner, and my everything. I can't wait to spend forever with you." He folded the paper. The crowd awed softly. The officiant turned to me. "Claire, your vows." I reached into my bouquet, where I'd tucked a folded piece of paper. But I didn't open it. Instead, I looked at Marcus. "I didn't write vows," I said softly. His brow furrowed. "I didn't write vows," I repeated, louder this time. The microphone picked it up. The crowd shifted, confused murmurs spreading. "Claire, what are you?" "I didn't write vows because I can't marry a man who slept with my maid of honor the night before our wedding." The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus's face went white. Natalie gasped behind me. The crowd erupted into whispers, people turning to each other, trying to process what they'd just heard. "Claire, don't." Marcus reached for me, but I stepped back. "Don't touch me." I turned to face the crowd. 200 people staring at me, their mouths open and eyes wide. I pulled my phone from where I'd hidden it in my dress. My hands were steady now. Completely steady. "Last night," I said, my voice clear and strong, "I went looking for my maid of honor. She'd gone to get champagne and didn't come back. I was worried. So I drove to the house where Marcus was staying." Marcus grabbed my arm. "Claire, stop. Please." I yanked my arm away, and I found them. In bed. Together. The whispers turned into gasps. Someone in the back yelled, "Oh my God." I turned to Natalie. Her face was frozen in horror, tears streaming down her cheeks. "You told me you'd do anything for me," I said quietly. "I guess you meant that literally." She shook her head, sobbing. "Claire, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't want your apology." I turned back to Marcus. He looked like he was going to be sick. "You told me I was your everything," I said. "You told me you couldn't wait to spend forever with me. And then you spent last night inside my best friend." "Claire, please," his voice broke. "It was a mistake. I was drunk." "You weren't too drunk to take your clothes off," I said coldly. You weren't too drunk to betray me. The crowd was completely silent now. Even the officiant looked shell-shocked. I held up my phone. I have photos, I said. Time-stamped. 6:15 this morning. Would you like me to show everyone? No. Marcus lunged for my phone, but my dad was faster. He stepped between us, his face red with rage. Get your hands off my daughter, my dad growled. Marcus stumbled back, his face crumbling. Mr. Madsen, please, I can explain. Explain what? My dad roared. How do you humiliate my daughter? How did you make a fool of our entire family? My mom was sobbing now, her hands covering her face. Marcus's mom stood up in the second row, her face pale. Marcus, is this true? She asked, her voice shaking. He didn't answer. He just stood there, tears streaming down his face. I turned to the crowd one last time. I'm sorry you all had to come here for this. But I couldn't let this man stand up here and lie to you, to me and to everyone. I dropped my bouquet on the ground. This wedding is over. And I walked away. I walked down the aisle in complete silence. No music. No applause. Just the sound of my heels clicking against the stone floor and the gasps of 200 people watching me leave. I didn't look back. When I reached the doors, I pushed them open and stepped into the sunlight. My chest was heaving, adrenaline pumping through my veins. I wanted to scream. I wanted to collapse. But I held it together. My bridesmaids came running after me. All of them except Natalie. Claire, oh my God. Are you okay? What do you need? I turned to them, and I realized I was smiling. Not a happy smile. A cold one. I'm fine, I said. I'm perfect. Behind me, chaos erupted inside the venue. I could hear shouting, crying, chairs scraping, my dad's voice booming, Marcus's mom yelling at him. Good. My phone started buzzing. I pulled it out. Messages were flooding in. From guests. From my family. From people I hadn't talked to in years. Oh my God, Claire, I'm so sorry. You're so brave. I can't believe he did that to you. Natalie is dead to me. I scrolled through them, feeling nothing. Then I saw one from Marcus. Claire, please. I'm begging you. Let me explain. I love you. I'll do anything. I blocked him. Another from Natalie. I don't know what to say. I ruined everything. I ruined your life. I'm so sorry. I blocked her too. I sat down on a bench outside the venue, still in my wedding dress, and stared at the forest. My bridesmaids hovered around me, unsure what to do. Do you want us to take you home? One of them asked gently. I shook my head. Not yet. Okay. She sat down beside me. The others followed. We sat there in silence, 5 women in matching lavender dresses and 1 bride in white. After a while, my dad came out. His face was flushed, his jaw tight. He sat down next to me without a word. Dad, I said quietly. I'm sorry. For what? He asked, his voice rough. For ruining your day. For wasting all that money. For... Don't. He put his arm around me. You didn't ruin anything. That boy did. And he's lucky I didn't knock him out in front of everyone. I leaned into him, and for the first time all day, I started to cry. Not because I was sad, but because I was free. Over the next few days, the story spread like wildfire. It wasn't just the guests who were there. Someone recorded the whole thing on their phone and posted it online. Within 24 hours, it was everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. Bride exposes cheating fiancé at the altar. Woman calls off wedding after catching fiancé with maid of honor. This is the coldest revenge I've ever seen. Millions of views. Thousands of comments. Some people praised me. She's a queen. She handled it perfectly. Others criticized me. She should have just canceled. Why humiliate him like that? But most people said the same thing. He deserved it. Marcus tried to reach out multiple times. Emails. Texts from different numbers. Even a handwritten letter delivered to my parents' house. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just need you to know that I hate myself. I ruined the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm so sorry, Claire. I'll regret this for the rest of my life. I threw the letter away, without reading past the first line. Natalie tried too. She showed up at my apartment 2 weeks later, begging to talk. I opened the door, looked at her, and closed it again. She stood outside crying for 20 minutes before finally leaving. I didn't feel bad. 3 months later, I started hearing things. Marcus had quit his job. He couldn't handle the stares, the whispers. People knew what he'd done and they didn't let him forget it. He moved to a different city, started over. But his reputation followed him. Natalie lost most of her friends. The ones we had in common wanted nothing to do with her. Her Instagram comments were flooded with hate. She eventually deleted her account. I should have felt satisfied and vindicated. But mostly, I just felt tired. 6 months after the wedding that never happened, I was sitting in a coffee shop when a woman approached me. "Excuse me," she said hesitantly. "Are you Claire Madsen?" I was tense. I'd gotten recognized a few times since the video went viral, and it was always awkward. "Yeah," I said carefully. She smiled. "I just wanted to say thank you." I blinked. "For what?" "I was in a similar situation last year," she said. "My boyfriend cheated on me with my sister. I stayed with him because I didn't want to cause drama. But seeing what you did, it gave me the courage to leave." Her eyes were shining. "You showed me that I didn't have to accept being treated like that. So, thank you." She walked away before I could respond. I sat there, staring at my coffee, feeling something shift inside me. Maybe what I did wasn't just about revenge. Maybe it was about refusing to be silent. A year later, I ran into Marcus at a mutual friend's party. I almost left when I saw him, but I didn't. He looked different. Thinner. Older. His eyes were hollow. He saw me across the room and froze. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then he walked over. "Claire," he said quietly, "can we talk?" I looked at him. Really looked at him. And I realized I didn't feel anything anymore. No anger. No pain. "There's nothing to talk about," I said. His voice cracked. "I just want you to know I'm sorry. For everything. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but—" "You're right," I interrupted. "You don't." He nodded, his eyes filling with tears. "I know. I hope you learn from this," I said. "I hope you never do this to anyone else." He swallowed hard. "I won't. I swear." I turned to walk away, then stopped. "Marcus," I said, looking back at him. "I loved you. I really did. But you showed me who you were. And I'm grateful for that." His face crumpled, but I didn't stay to watch. I walked out of that party with my head high. Because I wasn't his victim anymore. I was the woman who refused to let betrayal break her. It's been 2 years since that day. 2 years since I stood at an altar and chose my dignity over silence. People still ask me if I regret it. If I wish I'd handled it differently. If I think I was too harsh. And my answer is always the same: no. Because that day wasn't about revenge. It was about truth. Marcus and Natalie tried to rewrite the story. They wanted to make me the crazy ex, the bitter woman who couldn't let go. But I didn't give them that power. I showed everyone exactly who they were. And yeah, it was messy. It was public. It was brutal. But it was also the most honest thing I've ever done. Since then, I've rebuilt my life. I started my own branding agency, like I always dreamed. I surrounded myself with people who actually love me, not people who use me. And I learned to trust my gut, because deep down, I knew something was off with Marcus. I just didn't want to see it. I ignored the late-night texts he'd hide, the way he'd get defensive when I asked about his day, the weird tension between him and Natalie at parties. I saw the signs. I just didn't want to believe them. But I'll never make that mistake again. Now, when something feels wrong, I listen. I trust myself. I don't shrink to make other people comfortable. And I sure as hell don't stay quiet when someone disrespects me. So to anyone out there who's been betrayed, who's been lied to, who's been made to feel small, you don't owe your silence to anyone. You don't have to protect people who hurt you. And you sure as hell don't have to smile and pretend everything's fine when it's not. Stand up. Speak out. And don't apologize for it. Because the truth is, people like Marcus and Natalie, they count on you staying quiet. They count on you being too polite, too scared, too embarrassed to call them out. Don't give them that power.
Take it back.
If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been betrayed and found the strength to walk away, drop a comment below. I want to hear your story. And if you believe that cheaters deserve to be exposed, hit that subscribe button. Because I'm done staying quiet. And I think you should be too. Justice isn't always pretty, but it's always worth it.